Hello guys and girls. Today I am starting a new series of videos on my channel, where I am presenting and explaining you different things. In this video I am going to present you what is the difference between MBR and GPT partition scheme. I hope you will like it. Let's go. It does not matter if you have a hard drive, an SSD, a memory stick, a micro SD card, or whatever. They all store data. And for that data to be read in a logical way, they all need partitions. But what is a partition? You can think about a partition as a square that represents a designated portion of your device physical storage capacity, or, in some cases, all of the capacity, which is managed by your operating system. Now, this square fills up once you start writing data to it, and empties out as you delete data from it. Now, for the device to be properly managed by the operating system, it also needs a schema, which tells the operating system things like how many partitions are on a device, in this example too. Where does a partition start, on the physical space of the device, and where does it end? If a partition has a bootable program or operating system, and has been set accordingly, where does the first lines of that bootable code are, and many more useful informations for the operating system. There are two types of these schemas which are called Master Boot Record, or MBR, and G.U.I.D Partition Table, or GPT. To simplify things, I am going to explain further these types of schemas based on the hard drives and SSDs, because other devices like USBs or micro SDs cards have already the MBR schema, and does not need the GPT schema as the time of this clip. The first schema, MBR, is the most old and popular schema of partitioning. To explain it, I am going to take as an example, R2 partition hard drive from before. This schema puts out a small code at the beginning, sectors, of the hard drive, which loads your operating system, and we will take Windows as an example, but it is not limited to Windows. It also contains the informations of partitions that I have mentioned earlier, like the number of sectors, type of partition, space available, and many more. On a short note here and to explain more, Windows assigns the letters of the partitions. On an important note, it does not matter how the device is partitioned, in the MBR schema, the bootloader code will always be located on the first sectors of the device, and if the operating system is not in the same partition in which that code is, it does not matter, as it searches the rest of the sectors until it finds a properly marked as bootable partition with an operating system on it. The main advantages of this schema are the wide compatibility with many devices, and its popularity. That said though, MBR schema has many disadvantages. For example, its limitation of support for a device capacity to a maximum of 2 TB of storage. Any more after that, and it may cause, on short, a partial or total data loss. Also its limitation to a maximum of 4 partitions on a device. That being said, there is a way to create more partitions, but it is argued that this should not be necessary. On the same page, if the beginning code I was talking about gets corrupted, by any cause, it needs to be repaired, and your data might be, partially or totally, in danger. Also, there is no detection if a sector is being corrupted, and it is said that you will see problems, only it is too late. The second schema, GPT, works like this. It has the first sector, S, on the device which holds a so-called protective MBR segment, that is the first MBR code, or some portions of it, I'm not 100% sure, that which is to assure some level of backward compatibility with some partitioning tools at least. And after that, it holds the specific code of GPT which finds and loads the operating system, and provides the informations on partitions like I've described already, such as space, bootable or not bootable mark etc. Nothing new from the MBR schema at first glance, right? Well, the news comes now. The code after the protective MBR segment is not only specific to GPT, but it is also tailored for each partition, and copied in the first and last sectors of each partitions. In addition, this code provides each partition with GUID, Global Unique Identifier, from which the GPT has its name, or referred to as UUID in some instances, Universal Unique Identifier, which is like a serial number for each partition that is, in the vast majority of the time, unique. And this happens before Windows assigns them letters. And one more important addition to GPT is, it does not only assign GUIDs to partitions, it also creates maybe, and stores, some at least, CRC, cyclic redundancy checksums, which are like another unique, in the vast majority at least, serial number for each files present in the device. That being said, this schema's big disadvantage is the almost no backward compatibility with older devices and systems, which, in result, might cause the device to not work at all, or for the GPT functionalities being limited. But also, that being said, it has many more advantages compared to the MBR schema. The first advantage of the GPT schema is the physical capacity of a device which the schema supports, which is 9.4 zettabytes, ZB. Now, at the time of this clip, this capacity may be years away from reaching a simple consumer device, so it is, for now, safe to say that this schema will support devices for years to come. Second, by working with the GUID, and not only, the schema allows a virtually unlimited number of primary partitions on a device, with the exception being the operating system limitation, which on Windows for example is 128 partitions at the time of this clip. Each will have its own GUID, and tailored code with its advantages. Also, remember how I've talked about each specific GPT code for each partition being tailored and copied on the first and last sectors of each partitions? Except the first one that it is after the protective MBR segment. Well, in case that the protective MBR segment becomes corrupted, I am not 100% sure about that, or / and the specific GPT code of the partition becomes corrupted, the backup code, after a checkup, will restore the code, S, and there is little to no chance of the data or the device being corrupted and / or lost. And last, but not least, the stored CRC checksums of the files that I was talking about earlier, are verified periodically, and if any discrepancies are found, depending on the case, the code can take some actions that can restore the file, S, partially or completely, prevent future data corruption on that sectors, S, repair the sector, S, etc. Those, and many more, like, for instance, increased speed in some cases, constitutes the main advantages of the GPT schema, in comparison with the MBR schema. Now, one of the two schemas needs to be applied to any new bot storage device, and, as I said, for reference, we will use an example only hard drives and SSDs, and you can do that from disk management or CMD or a third-party tool, in Windows, and many more methods, in which I am not going to dive right now, but I've attached here some explicative images. And with those you can set up, or initialize, the device as I said. As for compatibility, the GPT schema is having more problems with that, so I am going to show some images with possible compatibilities with types of systems and operating systems, and you can pause the video to look more closely on them, or access the links provided. As for my general advice, if your device can support the GPT schema, and take advantage of all its features, you can select it. If you are not sure, or don't want to risk it, you can choose the MBR schema. You can change them later, but that means, most of the times, that you will have to erase all the data on those devices. And that is all for today's video, folks. I hope you have learned something new from it, and please excuse my mistakes. You can find more details in the description of the video. Thanks so much y'all for watching. If you liked this video, don't forget to click the like button. If you disliked it, click that button. Also, please consider subscribing with the bell, leaving a comment, sharing this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.